All right, here is our last problem. We are going to integrate this function here. So f of x in this case is the square root of x cubed minus 1. And what I'm going to do to start out with this one, and this is going to be more of a calculator lesson than it is anything else, is I'm going to go to y equals, and you can see I typed in the square root of x cubed minus 1. I want to make sure that that matches. And let's get our delta x. 2 minus 1, and n is 10 in this case. So that's 0.1. That's our delta x. And we have x naught is 1, x of 1, 1.1, x of 2, 1.2, and so on. So here are our node points. And to find the midpoint, which we're going to need those values for part B anyway, so let's go ahead and get those values here also. And so we're basically going to be adding 0.05. Let me show you what I mean by that. 1 plus 1.1 equals divided by 2. So do you see I'm adding 0.05 each time? And notice we're also adding 0.1 to each sequential one. And that goes down to x sub 9 is 1.85, and x bar sub 10 is 1.95. We'll come back to those in just a moment. But it's important that we kind of have an idea of what we're looking at here. So let's start with trapezoidal, and I'm going to teach you something new. So part A, area from the trapezoidal is going to be 0.1 divided by 2. Then f of 1 plus 2 times f of 1.1 plus 2 times f of 1.2, and so on until we get to 2 times f of 1.9. Then it's just plus f of 2 with no 2 being multiplied to it. And I want to notice that except for the two end ones, we're adding all of these up. And I want to show you a new way to do that with a calculator. So we're going to go to second stat. I'll go a little slow here. I'm going to go over to math. And I'm going to go down to sum. So I'm going to add up the sum of, so all I do is hit enter. Now I'm going to do second and stat again. Now we're going to go to operations. We're going to go down to sequence. And this wants to know what function I'm using. And so I did the vars, yvars. So vars, yvars, function y1, there it is. I'm using the variable x. I push this button right here for x. And in this case, I'm starting with 1.1. I'm going up to 1.9. Now, these are only the ones that have the 2 multiplied to them. 1.9. The step size is still 0.1. Right, that's our delta x. Let me just show that to you. And what that's going to do is that's going to add up, without the 2, f of 1.1 plus f of 1.2 plus f of 1.3 all the way through f of 1.9. So when I paste that, I get this number. Now, this is just the middle ones, so not including these. So I need to multiply that whole thing times 2. Times 2, because they all have the 2 times them. Now I'm going to add vars, yvars, function, y1 of 1 plus vars y vars at 2. So what I'm doing is I'm adding the first one and the last one to this middle bunch. Enter. Now I'm going to go times 0.1 divided by 2. There we have it. So you may need to review this video. When we get to Simpson's rule and even the midpoint rule, we'll be doing something very similar. So this became about 1.506. 1.506. 4, we'll say, rounding it off. Okay, let's do midpoint. So that's going to be 0.1 times f of x bar sub 1, f of x bar sub 2, and so on, all the way up to f of x bar sub 10. Now, I want to point out, so I'm going to do that sequence thing again. I want to point out from each of these, they're still exactly a 0.1 apart from one another. So let's clear that. I'm going to hit second stat, go to math, down to summation. I'm going to add up second stat, a sequence. Now this is y sub 1 again, so that's the same. The variable x is the same, but this time we're starting at 1.05. We are ending at 1.95. Still a step size of 0.1. Just give me a minute. Now, that is only going to add up these. And now I just need times 0.1. Look at that. And you can see it's kind of close to this one. 1.5184. So they're close, about 1.5 in their accuracy. Now, Simpson's is a little more complicated. So we're gonna have to do even more stuff with it. And I'm gonna write this one out a bit. So the area Simpson is gonna be 0.1 over 3. Then f of 1 plus 4 times f of 1.1 plus 2 times f of 1.2 plus 4 times f of 1.3 plus 2 times f of 1.4 plus ... plus 4 times f of 1.9 plus regular old f of 2. And I'm going to rewrite this a little bit. So 0.1 over 3, we'll get to that. And I'm going to rewrite it like this. 4 times f of 1.1 plus f of 1.3 plus ... plus f of 1.9 plus 2 times f of 1.2 plus f of 1.4 plus ... plus f of 1.8. Then plus f of 1 plus f of 2. Now, what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to do this some of the sequence like we've been doing for this one. And I'm going to store that into the memory allotment A, and I'm going to teach you how to do that here in just a moment. And for this one, I'm going to take all of that, and we're going to store that into memory allotment B. I'll show you how to do that right now. All right. So, and notice the step size is 0.2 now. So I'm going to do second stat and a sum. Second stat, operations, and we're going to do a sequence. Y1 is the variable, that's fine. Is the function, pardon me. X is the variable. Now, our start point is 1.1. Our end point is 1.9. And our step is 0.2 now, right? They're jumping 0.2. Paste that. It's going to give us this here. And hit enter. Okay, now I need that number. And I'm going to store that number into memory allotment A. Now, mine's a little scratched off, but above your on-off button, it should say STO, S-T-O. That's your memory, so we're going to store that. And can you see the little green A? To access that, I have to hit alpha A. And now I'm going to save that off as A. Done. So watch, I can clear it, hit alpha A, and that same number comes up with all those digits. I'm now going to do the same thing with B. So I'm going to go second stat, sum, second stats, sequence. Same function, same variable, but this time we're starting at 1.2 and we're going up to 1.8. And the step size is 0.2. You can see the difference there is 0.2. So we're going to paste. All right, now I'm going to store, remember STO, into alpha B. Okay, now we're talking. So now that I have that, I'm going to do this. 4 times A plus 2 times B plus, and now I need f of 1 and f of 2. So vars, y vars, at 1 plus vars, y vars, f of 1 at 2. And that's going to get me everything in the parentheses. Enter. Now I'm going to go times 0.1 divided by 3. There it is. Look at that. Beautiful. Again, you may need to review all of this. 1.5115. As you're looking at that. And we can compare. We can see that, ooh, I can't fit them all on the same screen. So 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. And again, Simpsons tends to be a little bit more aggressive and converge a little bit quicker. I hope you found that helpful using your calculator like that.